accelerate here with 3 hours in to battle of the goats. Haven't made a check, haven't made a lap. Bottlenecks are insane. The rocks are super slick, but we're having fun, huh? Let's stick around. Woo! What is up, friends? YouTube motorcycle enthusiasts, Accelerate here. Battle of the Goats 2023, the main race. So this is the Enduro Cross section, obviously where it all begins. The same as the qualifier. So I will say with day 2, Sunday was a little drier. I think that was the common theme. There was still mud out there, but it tacked up pretty good, and traction was still pretty awesome. So though slick in some places, way better than Saturday. So going into this race, as many of you know, it's 6 hours to complete however many checks that you can complete. So 4 checks total, which would make a lap. So going into this race, I really wanted to kind of take my time. I think a lot of people were trying to, play the long game, so to speak. And I'm not just making excuses for not being great here at the Enduro Cross either. But in all honesty, it was, I pushed pretty hard through the qualifier, so a little sore, amped up still, but I also was trying to maintain and not get too burnt out in the first hour, or frankly the first 15 minutes of the Enduro Cross here before I actually got to the course. So. So the first lap, or the first portion of the from the Enduro Cross to the check, is the same course plus a little bit of chicken fight extension. They added a few other sections. So a lot of this initially is kind of repetitive with the qualifier minus the additions that they put in. So I did cut some things out here and there, especially me huffing and puffing, and later on it obviously gets a lot worse as I fatigue, and I try to cut all that stuff out, shrinking, ultimately what is 6 hours or 5.5 hours of footage down to about 45 minutes. So. So I've had a handful of people ask me recently if I like my Mako 360. I do plan on doing a review on it. I just really wanted to get more hours on it before I made a final determination. But the short answer is, yeah, it's pretty awesome, especially with a non-counterbalanced 2017, which frankly, since my surgery hasn't been terrible, my carpal tunnel surgery, I don't really have a lot of numbness or hand fatigue as much anymore at all, actually, but the Mako does help. So I expect to do a full review on it here for too long, before the end of the season for sure. So I will say Brushy's definitely got some pretty good downhills. It makes it pretty entertaining and a little sketch in the clay and the slick stuff. But you guys, the guys that know me, know that I love my downhills. So I'm pretty sure I've said this is my nightmare more than once. But I lived, so I made it, and obviously I'm coming into the infamous chicken final. So a good patron there offering me water. Thanks, brother. Much appreciated. So on this one, because it's a 6-hour race, and to be honest, I wasn't 100% sure how many checks I would make, or frankly, even if I would make a check. I chose to bring 5 liters of water. That's 3 liters on my back with the Zach Speed RS3, I think it is. It's their 3-liter race pack, which I absolutely love. That's a fantastic pack. And then also a climb belt, the waist belt that's, I think it only comes in like high vis, if you guys know which one I'm talking about. It carries 2 liters as well. So I was definitely feeling the weight carrying that much water. But honestly, I will say that I never ran out of water the whole time, the whole 6 hours. So a little prelude of the awesome to come. So tire setup, as I'm chugging up this hill here, I gotta say guys, I did have pretty good traction today. It was slick in some areas obviously, but overall the 140 Kenda Gnarly proved to be the right choice. I was coming into this race, I was talking with a couple buddies. I have a 120 Kenda Ibex that I had bought, and I was considering using it because I felt like it would do better in the mud, and I just haven't used an Ibex in a little while, and frankly I haven't used a 120 before. The Ibex I had previously was a 110, but I had a couple good friends that I trust their opinion. Well, both are better riders than myself, kind of recommend the Gnarly, and I was like, I had another friend that I also really trust his opinion, and he said, the Ibex should do great. So I went back and forth and ultimately ended up choosing the Gnarly, and I'm very happy with my choice. I think that, I don't know how the Ibex would have done comparatively, but I know that during the race I had good traction. It's brushy, it's slick, it's rooty, and there was some moisture there with the rocks and stuff, but nonetheless, traction was still pretty good. As for my front tire, I recently switched to a VE35, and I have to say that I really, really like it. It's a gummy front that seems to wear really well, and it had good grip on these off cambers and stuff. So I'm really liking the VE35. It's an IRC tire, if I remember correctly. So yeah, good stuff. So this bottom portion is what we would call chicken fight extension, and it's an extension, all right. There's a lot here. I was stuck in those spots there for a while, and frankly, guys, it keeps going. And the bottlenecks definitely were an issue. This is like all things, lessons learned with racing as I'm starting to race more. I'm definitely still a novice at any kind of competitive riding. So getting out front is super important, and then trying to get creative with lines and stuff, I think is one of the better skills to have. You know, just being cognitive and prioritizing your spacing with other people. Because at the end of the day, if you're on a hill like this, as I have painfully found, and there's riders in front of you, a lot of times you can't go anywhere, so you're literally just sitting and letting your bike cool off. Though the breather is nice sometimes, I will definitely say. But nonetheless, it's, trying to get up the hill, so trying to get out of the way. And not to mention, a lot of obstacles really are way easier with this thing called momentum that I normally don't always have, but I try to get it from time to time. So with a little bit of momentum, as you guys know, it makes a big difference. So yeah, this one I really hoped it worked. I in my head, I was Ryder LeBlanc zapping up this rock face and just like passing like 4 dudes, and just breaking through, and yeah, it didn't really work out that way though. So yeah, missing an airbox cover. That was gone there on the qualifier. Yeah, the older beta plastics, not they've been wearing really well. They were new 3 years ago that I got them, but that airbox cover, man, it was gone. So definitely gotta. I was a little concerned with my leg rubbing it, and then maybe causing a problem, but yeah, it held on just fine. My air filter my leg boot didn't rub a hole in it or anything the whole race, so everything's in good order, thankfully. But yeah, definitely had to deal with that.
Sorry, man, I about went down over there. Well, to ask out that little hip, it did it though. Yowza.
I should have just done it like that, like Cooper Rabbit. That's what I should have did. It's one of the awesome things about racing, you know, on the same course as the pros. You know, that was one of the times where some of the other footage, I had the camera off down through the early portions of this chicken fight extension is, and, you know, stupid me, the bottlenecks were bad. I was sitting there for a while, kind of started talking, and there was very little movement just because of the sheer amount of bottlenecks that was happening on that hill. But lo and behold, Tristan Hart, Cody Webb, Ryder LeBlanc, all started rolling through. Basically, your top 10 over time. You know, James Flynn passed me, Quinn Wenzel. You know, it's just really cool being out there and being able to ride some of the same terrain, you know, obviously getting to see their technique, you know, in person, like up close, is really cool. And yeah, it's just part of the fun, getting to ride with the same people that are, it's like playing football with the same people that are at the top level of the sport. Like, it doesn't happen. But with hard enduro, it does. You just got to come out, which is one of the coolest things in my book.
I see that.
Go straight up right here towards the tree that's leaning over.
Yeah.
Don't go past it. You're going to go up to that tree and
then
drop
cut
down
between
to the
those
left.
two?
Yeah.
Nice.
So you're going to go between that ribbon there and that tree. That's not this tree, but the one behind it. It's tight right there.
Thank you, sir. Get it, baby. Get it, baby. James Flynn. I think that's the easier one. They make it look so easy.
Oh yeah, right here. This is funny. My leg got slipped in this weird position. It took me a little bit to get up. I was like, my legs were caught under the bike and I was like pushed down. I couldn't get away from it. But yeah, somehow I managed. I think it's the teal gear that really, little retro teal, that gave me the energy to get out of that one. So go Leatt. Which I will say, by the way, the Leatt 5.5 gear is absolutely fantastic. It's like wearing stretch pajamas. I feel like I'm in a ninja suit while I'm riding, which is it's amazing. how well it wears is kind of remains to be seen because it is thinner. Probably it does tear a little bit easier, especially the shirt. The pants seem pretty durable, but we'll see how that one plays out. But nonetheless, the feel, amazing.
Never again will I be able to do that.
Stop your front wheel if you want.
I got it. Thank you.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Alright guys, here is the 100% bonehead tunnel vision move that I pulled. Lap 1 was the left that I should have taken. Lap 2, for those bad to the bone dudes that do 2 laps, there's an extension that gets added to the lap, which basically drops you down into 2 other valleys, which I'm now currently on because I saw the arrows to the right. The hilarious thing is I even went around the sign that says L2. Riders meeting, they mentioned it. I was grooving. I was out of chicken fight extension, coming off the hill. I felt like the valley that leads to the second part of the enduro cross section was coming up, which it was, but which ultimately would have been the checkpoint, right? So the thing with this, one thing is for sure, is with Battle of the Goats, is like you make it to the checks as fast as you can, especially the first one, because in C class not everybody makes a second check, because the course is long and it gets progressively harder. So I was rushing, I wasn't paying attention, I had tunnel vision, and you know, they say that the best lessons are learned the hard way, and that's exactly what happened, guys. So enjoy the second lap extension that I'm in right now. And you know, the funny thing is, after I've got off this hill and started getting into this more gnarly stuff, I kind of noticed there wasn't anybody around. So I had a vibe that something was amiss. But yeah, at that point I just kept pushing, and by the time I realized that it is what it is. So enjoy my struggles. So if you guys haven't seen, Max Gersten ended up doing the course preview after Will.
Well, update. Looks like I'm on lap 2. Psych, I didn't make a lap. I took a wrong turn. So I went to the lap 2 super feature, and then obviously some of this stuff is beyond my skill level. So I did break the ribbon to get around. I'm trying to get back to, dude, this is definitely a DNF. So at this point I'm riding for fun. 4 hours and 20 minutes in. I probably should have hit a check by now, but that did not happen, obviously. After I made the hill climb, I took a wrong turn. So I don't think there's any way to recover. I don't know if I was in first of C class or not, or I was probably top 5, I'm guessing. But that's the way she goes. Good time otherwise, so I'm just gonna keep on riding. Hoping to get around this giant feature here, and then we'll go from there.
So this was my revelation. Once I started seeing you know, the features just getting harder and harder, and then realizing that something was definitely amiss, that, you know, I wasn't seeing other people. I was in a completely new section. This wasn't just something that they maybe added a little bit into the course before the first check. You know, again, it was really just a tunnel vision move, and definitely a lesson learned on that one. So what I said what I'm, you know, I meant what I said. At this point, I'm riding for fun. I was pretty fatigued. I was starting to get pretty smoked. And at this point, it had taken me about 4 hours to get to this point, I think. And you know, this stuff was super slick. If you haven't seen Max Gersten's course preview, Will Preston actually did one that was posted on the US Hard Enduro page, and then Max showed up. I think he wasn't in town just yet, and then Max did one as well. Max actually took this extension, and you can see Max, who is an excellent rider, a professional rider, the way he was dealing with this terrain. It was definitely, I was definitely out of my league here in some areas. This stuff wasn't insane. It definitely gets worse. From a technical perspective, it does get harder. It's just like anything else, though. Everything is way harder. Whenever fatigue sets in, you're tired. You just don't have the technique whenever your body starts to fatigue that you did whenever you first started, which is one of the things that really, again, still blows me away about the pros, is they continue to just, you know, perform at an elite level for hours, which is so impressive.
Turn my camera off on some of my best moves.
So at this point, I started thinking, is it worth following the course, which is getting way above my pay grade, or do I try to find a way out? And I actually came back to this spot after I went down in to the next valley and came back out, which took probably another hour and a half. And I made this decision, you know, I was like, you know what, I'll just keep following the course. I didn't really know where I was once I was up there. Come to find out, I was across from the overlook. And then a young man, Hayden Mosa, a pro rider that rides for Riehu, came along that second time whenever I was up there, right at the end of the course, or the end of it was like 5 hours and 40 minutes or something. And then we had a chat, and you know, I told him that I was ultimately just trying to get back, and we ended up going through the ravine across to get back to that overlook. So again, it was kind of like poor decision making on my part. Had I known, I could have crossed right there, made it back to the course where I left off, and then dropped down in that valley and easily hit the first check before, you know, my time would have expired. But that didn't happen, so maybe I just wanted to keep riding terrain that was, you know, maybe I felt like I could keep going, which I did, but at the same time, usually at Brushy Mountain, going down into a valley is probably not the best move whenever you're trying to, you know, find your way back. So, more decision making, down on me. So down in here is where I pushed and then found a way to get out of this, basically to come back up the hill. Right up here to the right, there's a slight decrease in the canter of the hill coming down, and I was able to work my way up and out to the right, ultimately going back up the hill that I just came down. Because it's a clear cut up there, there was, you know, where the brush and the forest had been bulldozed over to the edge. So I fought my way through that. I found a gap in the branches. I crossed a few pretty big logs, and to get back up into that clear cut section that I had left probably about an hour previously. I went around the hill a couple times. And then I did run into a couple pros, Jackson Davis and Logan Key, but they went on and they went ahead as I made my way out. So DNF for me, guys, but you know, it was an awesome race. It was an awesome time, and I will be back next year, and I'll be back in Ohio. So coming at you soon will be Fallen Timbers. Thanks, guys, for watching. Get out there, get on two wheels, ride a dirt bike. This is Accelerate once again. Signing off.